Hey, good morning. Welcome back to the show. Just hanging out with Jim Tillich of the Breck Fine Art Gallery. Good morning, Jim. How are you?
Yes, good morning. Doing really well.
Happy New Year to you as well.
Well, thank you very much.
So how's everything going over at the gallery?
It's actually going quite well. We've had a lot of guests in, as you know. Breckenridge was absolutely full.
Yeah.
And that makes it interesting because everybody kind of gets together, has a good time, and they talk about whatever it is, food, mainly art. We want them to talk about art.
Sure, of course, yeah.
But yes, it's been very good. I can't complain.
Yeah. Well, and the gallery is located in such a well-positioned area in Breckenridge. It's on the south end of Main Street, right at the intersection of Park. So across the street from Main Street Station. That is such a unique and great location to have, you know, the foot traffic going by, and that's one of the reasons why I always like stopping in the Breckenridge Fine Art Gallery myself, because it's so convenient as well to stop in and appreciate and get to take a look at the art.
It helps also that I have a front door and a back door. I have two
that's
front
true.
Doors,
you
actually.
do have two front doors.
One on the river and one on Main Street. But yes, the location is great, and people do stop in on their way into the restaurants and so forth,
You bet.
and then on the way back out. So we'll sometimes get the second seating people, you know, from the restaurants.
Right.
But it's good. I really enjoy Breckenridge.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about some of the art that we can see now that you've been in the Breckenridge Fine Art Gallery for a few months now.
Well, I've had good success with the impressionist pieces, but people are also looking at some of the older portraits, like some of the older actors from the past who had their portrait done when they were younger. I have a few of those. I have some famous Russian people. One is a famous scientist, and who would think that somebody would want a portrait of an older scientist?
Right.
But it's history.
Yeah.
I have some of those. People are looking at impressionistic fields of flowers. Like I have an artist by the name of Gantner who paints the hill country of Texas. So you've got these rolling hills of sunflowers and bluebonnets and Indian paintbrushes.
And we saw a great example of that last week when you were here in the studio.
Just beautiful.
Yeah.
So
and you brought some great examples here this week too, so tell me about these.
I did. So depending on which one you want to see first, this one is a piece of art that is being worked on by the artist. So when you look at it, what you'll see is, it's up on the screen now, you'll see that the colors run together. He painted it plein air.
Okay.
So
what does that really mean then?
Open air, plein air in French, just you're painting it out in the open.
Okay.
And it's not a big piece of art. It's like 1.5 by 18 by 24 inches.
Right.
But he kept it that small so the wind would blow it away.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And so he can get a really good feel for the day. And look at the clouds and where the blue and the clouds meet. What you've got is colors painted over other colors. So it's blended on the canvas.
Right, because a lot of times you see on your palette that you're mixing the colors there, and with a lot of artists.
Right.
With this example, we're seeing that mixture taking place on the canvas. That's pretty
Right,
neat.
on canvas. And so that speeds his whole process up. You see the rich colors that he gets. Now this particular piece, even though it's somewhat small in general, he painted a very large one from this.
I see.
So this is a complete piece of artwork done out in the open.
Right.
He then brought it into the studio and he painted a 6-foot one of that scene.
Interesting.
that you're
How
looking at.
closely are they related to each other? They look pretty identical, or I can imagine that's like almost a game of telephone then. It's like, here's my impression first, and the second impression from the impression, I could see some differences maybe taking place.
A few differences.
Yeah,
He needed a cow over in this field, so he added one.
Sure.
Or the tree just wasn't just right, so he moved it over a few degrees.
Fascinating. That's an interesting, but that's what the art form lends itself to when you're going off an impression of your own work. It's a pretty good process.
His feelings, what he saw that day, and what he wanted to take away from it. A lot of people do say, and I believe it's true, each piece of art obviously has the structure, the color, the composition, all those normal things.
Right.
But the artists always like to say they have a spiritual meaning as well.
Okay.
Something that touches your heart. And the next one that you'll see is a piece of art. It's actually a masterpiece from a gentleman by the name of Timkov from Russia. He passed away, but now when he painted this, his son is alive and tells me all about his dad's work.
Right.
When he painted this, he said what he wanted to show was life in the middle of nowhere that's just coming up, blossoming out. And that tree that you're looking at with the red buds on it, that's a mountain ash.
Okay.
And it does have the peculiarity of blossoming when everything else is kind of trying to come into bloom.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a nice piece of art. And again, the spiritual aspect of this, you could say, is here's hope, new life, good things coming, bright and beautiful, and yet the rest of it is a little bit dull in the fact that it hasn't blossomed out yet.
Right, right.
Just an interesting thought.
That is a very interesting thought. And the way that red just pops out onto it really catches your eye, and I can imagine it's a piece that a lot of people can gravitate to in the gallery.
They do gravitate to it. In fact, enough people ask about it, they come to see it. Like after showing it on TV this morning, it's very possible that people will come in and say, you know, I'd like to see how he did that. How did he get that green to pop, the red to pop right out of the green? How does that work? And we give them an art lesson. And
that's great.
Have a good time discussing it.
So anyone is welcome into the gallery to come in and take a look at it. It's museum quality fine art, but some of this, which you can actually take the art home with you though as well.
Right.
Which is a great little perk to it overall for the gallery.
Exactly.
So again, located on Main Street in Breckenridge at Park in Main Street, great location. And hours of operation that people can come in?
We open at 10 in the morning and we're open till 8. Or as they say, till the last person leaves.
Till the last person leaves, you bet.
Basically 10 to 8.
Sure, sounds great. Well, I do highly recommend if you've never been to the Breckenridge Fine Art Gallery, it's worth stepping in there to take a look at some of the art. And it's not just paintings as well. They have bronzes and many other mediums to appreciate.
Some watercolors, some sculpture, mainly oils, but all high quality so that people would be glad to have it in their home.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jim, thanks for coming in here this morning and tell us about the gallery and a couple of these great pieces. It's, again, fascinating work to hear, listen about. So thank you for coming in.
You're welcome.
And we're going to take another break, be back with more. Don't forget, Watch What's Still to Come. We're going to catch with Scotty Bondo and the Grand Lodge, as well as the Breckenridge Recreation Center coming up next. So don't go anywhere. We're going to keep things rolling on our Friday morning with Sunrise right after this.